5 things to know about setting boundaries. As with every festive season, there is much discussion about boundaries. This buzzword is omnipresent on social media, and wellness influencers and healthcare providers loudly advocate for setting healthy boundaries. I can see that I am part of the group of professionals who emphasize the significance of boundaries. However, establishing boundaries is not always a straightforward task or achievement. While discussing boundaries is crucial, and there are undoubtedly advantages concerning our mental health, it is equally vital that we recognize the potential obstacles and barriers we may encounter as we create new boundaries or reinforce existing ones. Bear in mind, we typically set boundaries with individuals who are unlikely to be enthusiastic about the concept of boundaries, so it should not be unexpected if others are unreceptive to your boundary or if things do not proceed smoothly. 5 factors to consider when asserting a boundary. 1. Be direct. Boundaries necessitate directness. You cannot skirt around the issue or presume that the other person with whom you are establishing the boundary will just understand. For a boundary to be effectively conveyed, you must be direct and specific. This means you must articulate your expectations and the limitations you are putting in place. For instance, this Christmas, I am unwilling to participate in any conversation about politics, and if this cannot be respected, I will have to leave, is a clear and direct statement instead of, let's not discuss sensitive subjects, all right? Being this direct can feel incredibly uncomfortable, but it is preferable to assume the other person comprehends the boundary or leave it open to interpretation. You may also need to communicate or repeat the boundary more than once, mainly if this is a new boundary or you are establishing a boundary with someone new. 2. Prepare for potential resistance. Simply because a boundary has been established, it does not mean that the other person will respect or accept it. There is always the possibility that there may be resistance or hurt feelings. The other person might object or attempt to use guilt to challenge the boundary. Again, we typically set boundaries with individuals with strained or complicated relationships. In other words, we establish boundaries with the people and relationships that could most benefit from a boundary. So, if there is resistance, this is normal and can indicate that the boundary is needed and can benefit your mental health. 3. Don't over-explain. Many people feel compelled to justify their boundary, to offer a why and provide a rationale or even apologize for the boundary. However, the very purpose of the boundary is self-preservation, setting a limit to protect one's mental health and well-being. This is something that does not need justification. When you attempt to over-explain a boundary, it can often create a debate or extended conversation, which can sometimes result in further conflict. Your boundary is yours, and you don't need the other person to approve it or give their input. 4. Reinforce the boundary. Setting or establishing a boundary is one thing. Reinforcing it is another. When you set a boundary, be prepared to reinforce it and follow through with the stated consequence, if necessary. If your parent respects your boundary of not bringing up politics, great, enjoy the evening. If they refuse to respect the boundary and try to bait you into a political discussion, you must reinforce the boundary by leaving. Words are merely words until they are supported by action. Boundaries are only effective if they are reinforced. Remember, you are setting the boundary to protect your inner peace, so follow-through is crucial. It will be difficult initially, but will become easier over time. 5. Remember your why. Many people avoid setting boundaries or reinforcing them due to resistance or lack of understanding from the other party. It's common to worry about how the other person might interpret the boundary or feel. Some people will backtrack and take back the boundary or simply not follow through with it. By revisiting your why or intent, you'll feel more confident and grounded in your decision to establish the boundary. Use positive self-talk statements such as, I am setting a boundary because it is beneficial for my mental health, or I deserve to prioritize my needs and what is best for my well-being. Thanks for watching. And until the next video, remember, change your thinking, and you change your life.